All right, go.
Sadiq here didn't really know what the topic was about until he told me, but probably might get heated in here. So grab your fans. Enjoy the topic again.
Sadiq, I've been posting about this topic the whole week.
Yeah, you been. I've been home.
You thinking he's not? She said you thinking he was not a hero is your opinion, right? Well, I'm gonna bring facts.
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna come with my opinion, okay? I'm not just gonna come. That's one thing I don't do, right? I'm gonna bring facts, and it could be disproven. I believe that could be disproven, unless you have a jarred definition of hero, right? That's good. That was a good way to start this off. I got Dr. Claude Anderson. Backing me up, right? I got Robert F. Williams, the grandfather of black armed self-defense, who called Martin Luther King an outright coward. Called him an outright coward, and I tend to agree. But most of all, I have Dr. Williams. I have Dr. Chancellor Williams on my side backing me up. All right? BPM for life. So here we go. Let's get started. Now, when we say what was a hero for black people, we first got to talk about what defines a hero, right? Particularly for us. Because one man's hero is another man's villain, right? Huey Newton and the Panthers, they were heroes to us, but the government considered them radical, terrorist, black identity extremists, right? So who's my hero might not be your hero. But I think I'm going to be able to nail down exactly what's a hero for black people and what we need. All right? Sadiq, what's your definition of a hero for black people?
I think a masculine alpha male, like a person that promote black families, a person that help the community out, giving back to the youth.
And what you mean by help the community? What does community need?
Help. Well, I mean, like, cause
if I stand outside and just give them turkeys, is that help?
No, like actually going to door and actually talk to them and bringing them BPM, like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Like putting knowledge in their head.
Knowledge, all right. And you said a masculine alpha male, so you're trying to say a female can't be a shero?
Well, she can.
Oh, okay. So we can have black sheros as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get down to business. In my book, a hero for black people works specifically for black people. Write that down. Okay. Now, you may be a hero for every other person. They could be a hero for the gays or for the Jews or the Native Americans, but that doesn't make them a hero for black people, right? So that's one criteria. You got to be specifically for black people. If Obama's running around saying, oh, I'm not president of just black America, I'm president of all America, so I got to do policies for all America, and he's giving the Hispanics things and the gays things and not doing nothing for blacks, yeah, he's black. Well, a mulatto, but is he a black hero? So you got to work specifically for black people. All right, what do you work towards? The one problem that black people have is that we're dependent economically upon our enemy. Oh, ain't that a problem? Right? As Malcolm said, anytime you have to go to your enemy to beg for a job, you in bad shape. So we need that black hero needs to be working for the economic independence of black people. Write that down. Economic independence. Okay? Not economic inclusion. Not forcing white people to hire us. Putting us in a position to hire ourselves. Okay. Economic independence. We don't want to be dependent upon anyone, because when you're dependent, that's when they can kill your sons just for wearing a hoodie, let the killer off, and the killer goes free and makes Twitter posts about it, because you're dependent upon white society. You can't even go to work and hardly say nothing about it because your ass will get fired. Now, how about that? Economic independence, political independence. What that mean? We are looking out for our own self-interest, political independence. I'm not in here talking about I want to make sure the Hispanic immigrants get their rights, the LGBTQ get their rights. How the hell I got time to talk about anybody else but blacks? You see what I'm saying? If we have the worst incarceration rates, the worst AIDS rates, the worst single parent rates, the worst health rates, how in the hell do I got time to talk about anybody else but blacks? That's a disservice. Who's got it worse than blacks? If they shoot black people in wheelchairs and they pulling over black dads in the car with their family and shoot the guy to death on Facebook Live and nobody go to jail, how the hell do I have any time to talk about anybody but blacks? Huh? If you hire me to go fix your car, right? I'm your mechanic. And you come outside and I'm working on somebody else's car. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna go to them.
Fire my ass. Well, we finna fire him tonight. All right, political independence. And they always advocate for black people to build for themselves and to protect what they build. Let's do that then. Build and protect. That's what a black leader does in my eyes. Right? That's what a black leader does in my eyes. They specifically for blacks. They for our economic and political independence. They don't want us dependent upon anyone. And they want us to build for ourselves. And they want us to be able to protect what we build. That's the hero. You got the criteria? Okay, let's keep the criteria over there to the side. Now, the reason so many, you wouldn't believe the calls I got about what I'm saying. I got people who called me today who I haven't talked to in months and years, and they saying, Vern, are you all right? The things that you're saying about Martin, how can that be okay? What's going on? I can't believe it. How can anybody say that? Well, that's the way we're losing right now. Because that's another thing that Martin Luther King did. He put us in psychological bondage. Thinking that a handout, thinking that some little petty handout, ooh, we got the civil rights bill. I can sit on the front of the bus and I can go to the white people's store. Thinking that some little shit like that is progress. That we're not allowed to defend ourselves. If anybody, you know what, this is all fact. And I'm going to prove it right now. Brother Randy Sewell, have you read The Destruction of Black Civilization? Watch this. I'm going to pull him up. Watch this. This is what I'll do. I'll pull him up. I don't play like that. I'll give him a chance to come up. Let's see what he do. Let's see if he got the guts to come. Let's see if he got the guts to come. Okay, I'm pulling up a black pastor, you all. A black pastor by the name of Randy Sewell. Randy, is that his name? Randy Leon Sewell in Jacksonville. Let's see. Can I hear him? There we go. All right. Wait a minute. I'm not. Wait. Wait. Big fella. I didn't even ask you the first question yet. I didn't even ask you the first question yet. First of all, thank you for having the guts to pop on up here. We appreciate that, Pastor Sewell.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know you're going to stick by Martin because he's a pastor. And you black pastors.
I'm sticking by Martin. No.
You black pastors. You black pastors. You like his philosophy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I just want to ask you. Can I ask you a few questions?
Go ahead.
Have you read The Destruction of Black Civilization?
No, I
Oh, okay. Have you read Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson?
No.
Okay. All right.
So what does those books have?
That's not. I just want to get answers. Have you read The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey?
Yes, I've read some of Marcus Garvey's work.
No. I said, did you read? Did you
As a
read?
matter of fact, no, I have not read that particular book, but I have been reading Marcus Garvey's work.
Okay.
Yes.
And
There's
what?
a lot that I agree with Marcus Garvey as well.
And what about Negroes with guns?
No.
Okay.
Uh-uh.
So some.
I'll make sure, but listen, I'll make sure that I read them.
Okay. But just going forward right now, we know that you haven't. All right. So let me ask you this, because I've read The Destruction. Over the last 6,000 years, I'm talking about in all of our known history, you know, for the most part. What has been the impact of integration between us and Europeans, overall, positive or negative?
I agree that to a certain degree, integration is good because it does allow us. To a certain degree, integration is good. Then to a certain degree, integration is not good.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Does it?
There's both goods and bad to it.
It allowed us to do what? You was going to say integration allowed us. What did it allow us to do?
Well, integration, it allows us to be on the same playing ground. That's what integration does. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that the laws have been enforced for us to be on the same playing ground.
So wait a second.
That's what it,
Are blacks on the same playing ground as Europeans today?
no,
So how has it allowed us to be? But you just said it allowed us to be on the same playing grounds.
it gives us the opportunity, but that doesn't necessarily mean because we say that we are integrated that we are. Integration in itself should be a positive, but that doesn't mean that it is in this country. I agree with you on the part that integration itself, at this point in time, may not have been good for us educationally. It may not have been good for us business-wise. But at the same time, Martin King stood for more than just integration.
Okay, but wait a second. You said that integration has not been good for us when it comes to education. It has not been good to us when it comes for economics. But you said it has given us the opportunity. It hasn't made an equal playing field, but it made an opportunity.
Not that it has given us. Let me restate it. Not that it is the end that integration should put us on the same playing field as others.
It should.
Okay?
Let me ask you a question.
It should.
Let me ask you a question. As a black man, having known what we've accomplished as the originators of civilization, math, science, government, as the ones who taught religion and spirituality to every other people, why in the hell would I want to be in a position where I'm begging to be equal with them when I'm the teacher? Why would the teacher want to be equal with the student?
Well, one of the reasons is because you got to go to your relationship with the Lord.
You're breaking up. You're breaking.
It is God's aim that we all. I understand where you're coming from as a people, but as a believer, it is our aim to come one because we are all one in Christ.
Okay, if we all one in Christ, then why did Christians lynch black Christians?
I'm not talking about Christians.
You said we all one in Christ.
We are one in Christ. I didn't say Christian.
Oh, so
I didn't say Christians.
so the non-Christians can be
Damn thing or Christians is.
the non. So the non-Christians. So I'm just not getting it. Okay, so let's do this. Since integration was bad educationally and it was bad economically, what tangible good that we have now did Martin Luther King produce?
Martin Luther King started the effort for redistribution of wealth before he passed away, and that's the thing. Well, I think the problem is that we are reading other people's books on Martin, which is okay, and we're not really studying Martin himself. You know, just because a man says that he's not violent does not necessarily mean that he's not resistant. Non-violence does not necessarily mean not resistant.
Well, let's finish that topic first. You said he started the effort for the redistribution of wealth.
Exactly.
And you telling me that is a good that we enjoy some benefit from that today.
Well, it is not necessarily up to the man himself.
No,
To the leader himself.
that's not what I asked you. I didn't say.
He put us in position. He put us in position for redistribution of wealth. He put the people in Chicago. He did it in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay. Now it was his aim to spread redistribution of wealth across the country, but he was shot down where he could not.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you aware that America has the biggest wealth gap in the country, and that is worse now than it was then?
But that has nothing.
Biggest wealth gap in the world. Biggest wealth gap in the whole world.
That is not money.
I asked you what did he do, and you said
That's our fault as a people. It's not Martin King's fault. That's our fault as a people.
So how was he going to redistribute this wealth? Through marches?
No, by shutting down other companies, or shutting down European companies because, number one, because of their discrimination of us, making them, number one, put their money in our banks. All right.
No.
Number two. Wait. Number two. Also, he actually was encouraging black people to shop at their own people's store. It's not.
Martin Luther King. Wait a second. When it came to investing in black banks, which he couldn't get any white corporation, he didn't shut down a single white corporation.
Yes, he did.
What white corporation? Huh?
Sealtest Corporation in Cleveland, Ohio, began to put their money into black banks' accounts in Ohio.
What corporation did he shut down?
I didn't say he shut down.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Vern, this is not about Vern. Listen, okay. If I said he shut down, then I'm sorry. Let me regroup. No, what I was saying was he was actually fighting to shut them down if they did not. Okay, if they did not start, putting their money in black banks as giving black banks a chance as well as white banks as well.
Okay, and let me ask you a question.
These are proven facts, and he did this through Operation Breadbasket.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
So what?
I gotta ask you a question.
Okay.
Are you aware that integration? Shoot, I don't know what happened. Are you aware? Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you.
Are you aware that throughout the time of integration, the vast majority of our black banks were decimated and have gone out of business since then? I have an article in here right now to back this up. I'm gonna get to that later.
That is not integration itself, but that is not because of one man.
Who was the poster boy? Who was the poster boy for integration?
Okay, he was the poster boy. He was the poster boy for equal rights.
No.
Period.
Who said?
Human rights.
Didn't he say?
Understand? Martin King wasn't just Martin King was the poster child for human rights. Period.
No, I heard.
And integration is part of those human rights.
Oh no, it's not. Integration has cost us many.
Integration is part of that.
Well, Martin Luther King, he gave his big "I Have a Dream" speech, right?
Oh man, that wasn't nothing.
He gave his "I Have a Dream."
I'm not that.
That's his most well-known speech. And in that,
That's the problem. That's the problem. People don't. The problem is people don't go beyond the "I Have a Dream" or the mountaintop speech to get to know Martin.
so what's his better? What's the more accurate speech then?
I said it to you.
What speech? Which is it?
I sent it to you.
Tell me what it is and what it said.
I'm telling you, boy. It is his speech to SCLC at their annual convention, and during this speech, he is talking about redistribution of wealth.
What year is that?
I'm not sure what year it was.
Yeah, because now you know he did make a change right before he died, and he tried to talk about economics then. I'll give him that.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm talking about a few months before he died. But his whole life was spent fighting for integration.
That's because when you believe in equal rights, that's what you're going to fight for.
No, I believe equal rights. I believe in equal rights, but I don't believe in integration.
Okay, but that's your own philosophy. Okay, you cannot allow a man good to be evil spoken of. That's just like with you. Everybody, just like you know that everybody don't agree with your philosophy. But that doesn't mean it kills everything that you are doing.
Okay.
It doesn't kill it all.
All right, I gotta move on, but before I go, I want to give you another minute or two because you said he shut down corporations. That was wrong. So you said he started. You said he urged he said he urged investment in black banks, which was the last maybe month of his life. Matter of fact, that maybe been the last month of his life. That was certainly not.
Why do you think they killed it?
Well, what I'm saying is, Pastor Sewell, if you go your whole life doing wrong, in the last 6 months you turn around and try to go back.
Wrong according to
Wrong according to who? That's a good question. He froze up. I'm glad he asked me that. I'm gonna come back, people. You said wrong according to who?
Yeah, wrong according to who?
Wrong according to him. Because Martin Luther King said himself, I'm afraid I have integrated my people into a burning house. He said that. So he admitted that everything he had been doing with integration was absolutely wrong. So that's wrong according to him. Not me. Not black militants.
Okay, let me ask you this.
He said it.
Why not say, but this is the thing. But what you're saying is he's not a hero, which he is.
But he just said he spent his whole life.
Work over integration.
Integration is the worst thing that ever happened to black people. It doesn't get any worse. This is the worst. Go ahead. You said according to who? I said according to him. That's going to be hard to top, big fella.
We'll talk. Hey, I got to go eat, man. We'll talk.
You better get out of here. You better get out of here. You better get out of here. You happy? God bless you. Amen. In Jesus' name.
All right, dog. I love you, man.
Hotep. Peace. All right. Okay, here we go. Let's move back on. Now, I just want people to understand. The reason I keep waving this book, I want everybody to read it, The Destruction of Black Civilization, is because this walks us back from the times in ancient Ethiopia, ancient Nubia, ancient Kush, whatever you want to call it, which gave birth to ancient Kemet, which gave birth to Mesopotamia, which gave birth to the civilizations of the Indus Valley, all the way in India. The black man originated math, science, technology, originated living in a city, originated irrigation, originated all the sciences and the spiritual systems that we live by today, right? That have been, taken and bastardized and falsified by Europeans and Arabs. We were the ones who originated these things. And so for us to be measuring ourselves by slavery or a few boycotts or a few pickets, that's a disservice to our ancestors, right? And for us to be begging to be further, integration was the problem. This is what I was trying to get the pastor to see. If you look in this book and you read it, it's nothing but a back and forth. When the Africans of the Nile Valley kicked out all the invaders, they had stability, they had peace, and they created, and they built. When they opened the doors and tried to integrate and commingle and coexist and accept others, They had they were not stable. They did not progress. They had chaos because the European and the Arab, or the Asian, as Dr. Williams calls them, they don't come in to coexist. They come in with a smile, but their intention is always to rule. And if you study all of African history, integration always failed us. I'm talking about before we even got here. Now, slavery was just a bad, brutal, open form of integration, but that was integration too. Whenever we attempt to live in close proximity, whenever we attempt to live in societies where we give outsiders power, political power, economic power, influence, to live amongst us and impact our decisions and our culture and our ways of life, we always end up on the bottom. We always end up enslaved. Always. There's no exception. When the Europeans got to South Africa, when they got to the west coast of Africa, they ended up fighting each other over Africa. So you know you was out of the picture. You know the African was out of the picture. Whenever they come and whenever we try to coexist with them, we always end up in chains. Always. Apartheid South Africa. Right? This is what Empress Nzinga was fighting against in West Africa. We never coexist. There's no such thing as equal rights. There's no such thing as integration. Whenever we try to live amongst them, they will intermingle with us. They will smile for a while, maybe the missionaries, maybe do some commerce, intermarry with our women, take some of our daughters for their sons, and the moment they get strong enough, your ass is done. Same thing they did to the Native Americans. Hey, can you teach us how to fish? Hey, can you teach us how to grow corn? Hey, can you teach us how to survive the winter? Oh, thank you. Your ass is dead. 95% genocide. Now, if you know the history, if you know how this plays out over and over and over and over, if you know what he always does. One time when my wife went to marriage counseling, the bishop said, don't ever use always and you never, because those are hot button words. You always do this. You'll never do that. He said, don't use words like that because those click tempers. Well, with the European, he always. You can't name an example. You can't name an example to the contrary. When they went to Hispaniola, what Christopher Columbus do? Wipe them out. When they came to North America, wipe them out. When they went to Australia, completely wipe them out. Tasmania, total genocide. So if I know what this man always does, and if I know where I was, and if I know where integration got me, and if I know what is always going to happen, he's thinking in terms of war. Anybody who comes and tell me to join hands with him and shake hands with him and give him a hug and tell my son to join hands with his daughter, you cannot be a hero. You're a fool. I don't have time for that. Well, I know what he did that time and that time and that time and that time, but we just gonna love the devil out of him. Huh? We just gonna love him so much and we just gonna be so good to him that we just gonna love the devil out of him. Huh? We still ain't love the devil out of him. We the most Christian, most religious, and they went to the church. Just like they bombed the little girls back in the 60s, Dylan Roof went to the church. And they were praying. The pastor just came on here. He went to the church and they were praying and they forgave him. That means he was some loving people. And he shot 9 of them to death, unarmed. You gonna love the devil out of him? Come on, man, this is phony. Why are we having this argument? This man told us to join hands with our enemies. Now at the end, yeah, he did try to change. He admitted he was wrong. But you done spent your whole life putting us into this burning house. Now you're going to tell us to jump out? Oh, man. Okay. Let's move on. I had to start with the destruction of black civilization. Now I want all of y'all to ask yourselves a question. Because this is the difference between the mindset that a Marcus Garvey was teaching, right? Or Elijah Muhammad was teaching, and what Martin was teaching. Would you rather have federal legislation that requires white corporations. You know, your children out here looking for a job. We're going to pass a bill that says you have to treat blacks equal in hiring. Right? Would you rather have that legislation to help your child find a job? Or would you rather have your own damn business to hire your own children? You answer me. You answer me. What would you rather have, Sadiq?
Own business.
Okay. So while you up here push civil rights, we want a civil rights bill. We want to vote. These rights don't mean anything. Okay? They could pass a bill. They could pass a bill and still discriminate around it. They can pass a bill and interpret it one way for one person and one way for another person. They can pass all these damn bills and Sandra Bland still just got lynched. I'm sure it's a bill against that. Hey, it got to be a law against that. Somebody said it's all about laws and policies. It got to be a law against killing black boys because they got on a hoodie. It's got to be a law against killing black dads in front of their woman and child, even when they told you they got their gun license and you kill them. Anyway, he got to be a law. I mean, got to be a law against that. But what good is a damn law that you don't have no power to enforce? Law. Come on, man. It's a law against cocaine, and we still, America still import the most cocaine in the world. Yeah, I'd rather have my own. Because that law is not going to be applied. Because the person in charge of applying the law is still in the European. So we put a law that says, Donald Trump, you can't be racist anymore. Who's going to enforce it? Sure in the hell not me. Sure in the hell not, what's that old Tom name who used to be a good man, the doctor who did the Siamese twins? Ben Carson. He ain't going to enforce nothing. Okay?
They talking down there.
All right. What's going on? All right. You are using other people's work to simply support what amounts to your opinion. That's how scholarship works. You have to have citations. Now, if you want to come on, Nia Bill, if you want to come on, I'll give you a chance, but the pastor didn't do too well. So, integration with suicide. Now, that's what I'm talking about. He did. You and I have an opportunity to be on Facebook Live right now. Well, did Dr. King help create the internet or something? People on here saying some weird stuff. Integration cannot solve social issues. Absolutely right. All right? All the rights you have right now. I just said rights ain't shit. I have a right to against unreasonable search and seizure. I'm a black man. If I go out and drive my truck right now as an attorney with no felonies or wife and kids, they will unreasonably pull my ass over, violate all of my rights, and 9 times out of 10, get away with them. If you still on this video talking about rights, you damn in the 20th century. Okay, Facebook, we got another visitor coming on Facebook. Let me know if y'all can hear it, Instagram. I'm going to let him. I'm going to let him. Let's see that. Click it. Well, let me see.
Click that person, brother.
Huh?
Click that person.
Okay. I'm gonna bring this person up so they could tell me again what Martin Luther King did that was so good. I expect we're gonna hear about some rights and some laws, just like Trayvon had rights. Let's see.
Wonderful.
All right.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I've enjoyed your commentary.
Okay, well let's go ahead. Let's get down to business.
But going back to your original statement, I think one of the most recent things that you said was that we support other people's work. We cite other people's work, and that's what we do in scholarship, and you're absolutely right. However, I think the farce in that is that it doesn't matter if 10 people said it. That doesn't make it true, right? That just simply makes it that person's opinion. And I think, it's very difficult to argue opinions as absolute truth. Now, I can say it's a fact that you have that red hat on, right? Now, whether or not that red hat is attractive, that's an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when you engage in discussions, and I guess that's really the whole point of these philosophical
Well, let me ask you a question.
Hold on. I think that's the whole point of these philosophical debates.
This ain't philosophical.
Debate facts.
This
But I think, you seemingly being an educated person,
Seemingly.
still make sure that you understand and keep people in the lane of not arguing opinions that know their truth. I mean, yeah, it's a fact that Martin Luther King, he fought for equal rights. Martin Luther King fought for he was a focal point of the civil rights movement. All of those are facts. Now, whether or not you think he's a hero as a result of that, that's merely your opinion.
Okay, well, let me.
Yes, hold on. The truth of the matter is, and I heard you say a second ago that he had only changed his mind within the last how many months this last. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not arguing your opinion because I try not to do that. But did you know Malcolm X was a pimp, right? Not only was he a pimp, he smoked dope.
Okay, we all the way off topic now. Can we get back? Can we get back to what we? Can we get back to what we talking about?
No, follow me. So Malcolm X was always.
We talking about Martin Luther King.
Listen, no. Listen to my point. Malcolm X was those things before he converted to Islam. So to your point that Martin Luther King had only become enlightened the last 6 months of his life, I don't think the timing of any of that is irrelevant. I think the fact that whenever or whenever his mind changed towards economics, it was still, as poignant as a justified change that Malcolm X made from being a pimp, being Detroit Red, to the man that we know him as today. So I think that, ego has a way of coming through the back door. What I mean by that.
Okay, you done went on long enough. Let me get back to the point here. What has integration done black people more harm or good?
So again,
Just answer the question. I just need a one, because you just answer the question. Has integration done black people more harm or good?
my personal opinion, I think integration was probably the worst thing that could have ever happened.
Okay. So, but let me finish. I gave you an opening statement. I'm asking questions now. I gave you an opening statement. I'm asking questions now. If integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black people, and this man spent because you just said it, your own words, and this man spent the vast majority of his life pushing integration. Little black boys going to be holding hands with little white girls, which he wanted to marry a white woman. We'll get to that later. If he spent his whole life pushing something that you just said was the worst thing that ever happened to us, and then he said was the worst thing that happened to us with the burning house, how in the hell can he be a hero?
Okay, so now let me ask you this. Okay, did you always know today what you knew in 2017? You know that 10 years ago?
So you're gonna ask me a question instead of. You're not answering the question. Now you're asking me a question. I just asked you a question, so answer that.
So, did you know what you know today? Did you know that?
You can't answer my question with a question.
I absolutely can. Rhetorical questions are awesome. So, my answer to your question.
I knew Martin Luther King was a Tom 5 years ago.
What you're philosophizing today, did you know that 10 years ago? And if you didn't know that 10 years ago, then surely you understand how Martin Luther King did not know in the future what came about from the past. So it's almost like what's really the motive behind this?
Martin Luther King was a grown man. Wait a minute. Martin Luther King was a grown man with a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD. So, and with the access to the same information that I had, with brothers telling him, with Malcolm telling him, this integration is bad for us. This is never gonna work. Ignorance is no excuse.
Down to the rhetoric and the jargon that you're spewing is probably as dangerous as some of the other stuff I had. And I say that because if you have to be careful arguing opinions as though they're facts.
Well, you agree with my opinion.
You have some uninformed people listening. And so again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a fact.
You want to uninformed.
But whether or not your hat is cute, that's my opinion.
Okay.
So you can cite all of the resources in the world, that does not make that absolute truth.
Okay.
Right?
All
So
right.
I think to go back to my original statement was if you didn't know or don't know in 2017 If you didn't know that 10 years
You
ago,
won't answer the question.
you can't blame Martin for not knowing when he died.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Should be it 10 years prior.
Let me ask you.
That's not even a logical argument.
Let me ask you one last question.
What's that?
If a man whoops your ass for 10 years straight, right? But he didn't know any better because he was raised wrong. And then at the last month before he dies, he says, you know what, I'm sorry I was wrong. Are you going to say that's a great man?
So now,
No, he apologized. Wait, he apologized. I just need you to answer the question, yes or no. Yes or no. He, Hey, he said he would. He didn't know. Just rhetorical questions are awesome. Rhetorical questions are awesome. Okay, answer the question. Would you call that a great man? Okay. All right. Hey, I appreciate your contribution. You supported our point that integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black people, but you just said Martin didn't know no better. So.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was because again, what you're trying to do is persecute him for not knowing something.
I'm not trying to persecute him.
My question to you, well, the things that you speak of, why didn't you know that?
If you've been,
So I think, and I asked that question only for you to reflect upon it because I don't think it's realistic for anybody to think that you should have known 10 years ago what you know today. That's the beauty of growth. That's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of.
Why do you have the camera on the ground?
No, but I think what tends to happen is I think we take these hard stances against people who, knew what they knew at the time and did that they do it. Now, whether he was a hero or not, I don't really think that is really beneficial to anything that we as a people have going on today.
Then why are you in this conversation?
It's going to propel us in any better condition. I think it's divisive. I think it's.
I'm divisive.
Again, these are all of my opinions.
I'm divisive.
So let me say this.
Go ahead.
You use Barack Obama.
Barack, we only talk about black people on here. No.
Okay. So you use Barack Obama as an example.
But no, I didn't mean to.
Now, mind you, you're talking about the leader of the free world, right? And in your mind, and whoever else don't think that he did enough for quote unquote black people. So my question to you, what should that have looked like in terms of government, in terms of legislation, in terms of economics? What more could he have done given the nature of that position? I mean, was the
Maybe he could have gave black people the same amount of money they give the Jews every year, to Israel every year. Okay, let me finish. Okay, I gotta wrap this up. I had one final thing that I was gonna say. What was I about to say? She took me. She started talking about Obama. She lost me with the Obama.
You'll get it 5 years from now.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You said. Oh, that's what she said. She said that I don't know the things now. I didn't know what I know now 10 years ago. True, right? That's all true because everybody learning every day. But before I tell black people to come out here, listen now. Before I take a method, before I take a strategy, before I take an approach, and I tell you to come out here and die for it and don't even fight back and let dogs bite you and let police beat you and you go to jail and you get killed and sacrifice your kids for it but don't swing back. Before I tell you to do some stupid shit like that, I better know what I'm talking about. Right? Because under the law, you can always argue I didn't know. Ignorance is no excuse. And under the law, people in certain positions have a duty to know. So if the bus driver make the wrong turn, get everybody hit, they finna be held liable. He can say, oh, I know you didn't turn. I didn't know you could turn. Okay, that's okay. You had a duty to know. And before you call us out here to die and tell us whenever you get your house bombed and your church bombed, don't do nothing back, you better know what the hell you telling us to do. You taking a personal decision and telling me to do it. Okay, so he had a duty to know. Good Lord. All right. Let's see. A lot of comments in here. A lot of comments. All right. Let's push on. Nah, the sister did agree that integration was the worst thing that happened, but she just said it's not beneficial to talk about this. I don't know what the hell she was saying. Nah, listen to this, people, and I'm finna give you all facts. It's not only did Martin Luther King's approach not work to improve the specifically black economic and political position as far as independence, he didn't even achieve much integration. Check this out. Residential segregation, where people live, racial residential segregation, has only gotten worse since the Civil Rights Movement. Educational segregation has only gotten worse. You still have rich white schools and poor black schools. You haven't achieved any social integration. The only integration that was achieved was not integration, but commercial invasion. Right? Now, you can go outside. If you live in a black hood, you can go walk down to the corner store and check these facts out. The only thing that integrated, because you still have white neighborhoods and black neighborhoods, still have white schools and black schools. The only thing that integrated was, and I don't call this integration because it didn't go both ways. The only thing that changed was the commercial invasion. Meaning now, you threw our gates open and said, come own all our corner stores, all our salons, all our seafood places, everything in the black community. I'm talking about all facts here now. I'm talking about the weave stores. Everything is now owned by someone else. Everything. Now you tell me I'm lying. Anybody tell me I'm lying. When you go into the blackest neighborhood, and go to the gas station or the corner store or anything there, it's going to be an Arab there with his Arab wife, a Korean there with his Korean wife, and they're going to be owning and they're going to be growing rich, and we're not going to own nothing. It's called a commercial invasion. Now, this is why it's invasion and not integration. Because if you go to little Korea, a little Chinatown, a little this or that, you will find no black people owning a business. Try it. Go see. Go to little Chinatown. Go into one of the Arab areas or one of the affluent white areas. I got a friend who runs a concrete company. And he has one salesman for the black areas and one salesman for the white areas. And in the white areas, he may not even, he's a black man, he might even let them know he owns the company. Because they're not going to patronize a black business. All right? Now you go check your local stores. If you go through the whole of Duval and the north side and you find more than 3 black-owned businesses, I'll give you a Medal of Honor. Right? Now let's get to some facts here. Now I took this from an article based on FDIC statistics. I'm going to give you all facts because this is verifiable. This ain't no opinion here. It says, before integration, this is talking about Richmond, Virginia, and then other areas that, because Richmond, Virginia was one of the other places where we had Black Wall Streets. We had our own everything, right? We had our own everything. Here you go. Before integration, African Americans in cities like Richmond, Chicago, and Atlanta relied on black community banks, which were largely responsible for providing loans and boosting black businesses, churches, and neighborhoods. After desegregation, that's integration, black wealth started to hemorrhage from these communities. White-owned banks were forced to open their doors to African Americans, and the money that once flowed into the black banks and back to the black communities ended up on Wall Street and other banks farther away. I'm giving you facts now. This is from a Black Wall Street, Richmond, Virginia. Okay. Only 25 black-owned banks remain in the United States. We can count that. This is not opinion. Only 25 black-owned banks remain in the United States. According to the latest data from the FDIC, compared to 45 a decade ago, and at their height, more than 100. Okay? Numbers aren't opinions. Numbers aren't opinions. If anybody wants cites to the business articles, the citations, I'll send you the links. We went from 100 post-Martin to pre-Martin to 25 now. And they say the article directly ties it to integration. Now, is that an opinion? 100 versus 25, which one better? Well, in my opinion, that's just your opinion. Shut the hell up. Okay, let's go on to another article. Now, I pulled the article. Check this out now. I pulled the article from July of 1981 in the New York Times, right? Now, in 81, if he did his whole civil rights thing, integration in the late 50s, early 60s, on into the 70s, I think by 81 we should see the impact of it, right? Let me tell you what, this is not coming from me. Article from New York Times on Birmingham, Alabama. It says 20 years ago, before racial segregation laws were wiped off the books and blacks became welcome as shoppers in downtown stores, the black business district anchored by 4th Avenue and 18th Street was flourishing with small business shops by the dozens. 4 movie theaters, listen to me now, 4 movie theaters and several restaurants and small hotels. Today, this is in 81 now, they're saying pre-integration we had that. This is what we have today. There are abandoned storefronts, cleared lots, boarded up buildings, and only a handful of businesses. The landscape is representative of old black business districts across America. See, they're talking about Alabama, but they say this is representing across America. And the state of black-owned business generally is not much brighter, okay? Black-owned, listen to me. Black-owned, this ain't my talk, black-owned businesses were decimated as the paradoxical side effect of desegregation, that's integration. And despite the emergence of a new generation of black businesses competing in the general marketplace, only marginal progress has been made in recovering the ground lost in this era of sweeping social and economic change. It just didn't work. This ain't my words now. I see you the link to the article. These are the black business owners in Alabama telling you what happened to them. And let me give you a few more statistics. I'm talking about hardcore facts. Take these to the bank. DM me, I'll send you to the link so you can take them to the bank if you can find a black bank. Okay. There are fewer than 500 black-owned businesses operating in Birmingham today, as against more than 1,000 in the early 60s, according to the veteran black business leaders here, and the statistics tell similar stories in cities across the nation where blacks constitute a significant share of the population. New York, Washington, Richmond, Nashville, Jackson, Mississippi, Atlanta, Chicago, Kansas City, Missouri. Okay? Now, these are the people who run the businesses telling you what happened to them. This is not secondhand information. It's not opinion, okay? We went from 1,000 to less than 500. Integration cut us in half. All right. Does this sound like opinion or does this sound like actual fact?
Facts.
Okay. Facts. All right. Here it go. Desegregation improves social conditions. It just didn't work out economically, said J. McKinley Neal, a member of the Missouri legislature for 18 years, who has been the owner of Regal Pharmacy in Kansas City for 44 years. Now, I'm going to give you the testimony of a credible brother here. He's been in the legislature for 18 years in Kansas City, but he's been a black business owner for 44 years. Now, you listen to what he says. You listen to what he says now, because he has more credibility than me. He lived through it. He lived through it. He's talking about the legislature first. He said, I fought hard in the legislature for integration. I thought it would work both ways, that whites would patronize black businesses. You see? He said, I thought it would work both ways, that whites would patronize black businesses, but it just ain't worked that way. Well, we'll all come together and we'll shop at your businesses and you can shop at, no the hell they're not. I'm going to own your businesses. You can shop at mine. So either way it go, I'm getting it rich. I told you. Now, I told you how this been going since then. Now, these are no opinions here. These are all facts. Anybody who want the links to read the articles and look at the statistics, I come prepared. Okay? Integration decimated black businesses. All right? And Martin admitted it. Martin admitted it when he said he was integrating us into a burning house. All right. Now, let's move on here. Now, I got to tell you about one of the people that I do view as a hero. His name is Robert F. Williams. The brother was the grandson of a slave, born in the South, right? He lived in Monroe, North Carolina. Everybody needs to get this book, Negroes with Guns. Everybody needs to go read up on Robert F. Williams. Before you had Deacons for Defense, before you had Black Panthers, before you had anybody advocating openly and nationally for armed self-defense for blacks, you had Robert F. He's the granddaddy of it all. But they wiped him from the history books because he fought, he won, and they never killed him. He lived to be an old man, right? He lived to be an old man. So they wiped him from the history books. And his arch nemesis, his arch rival, the person who hated him most was Dr. Martin Luther King and his homosexual, gender-confused advisor, Bayard Rustin. These are the ones who hated him most. They went against him. So let me give you a quick synopsis. Robert F. Williams came back from the military. He was a Marine. He got back to Monroe, North Carolina. Racism was everywhere. The blacks were at the bottom. This is back in the 50s now. Monroe, North Carolina was the headquarters for the Ku Klux Klan in that region. They had Klan rallies that brought in 15,000, 20,000 Klansmen. The racism was thick. The white supremacy was phenomenal. And the whites would go around into the black neighborhoods and shoot at the black ladies' feet and make them dance, right? And anybody who they wanted to take advantage of, they would do it. They raped black women. They jailed black boys for nothing. These are the things that he was going up against. So one day, a white man went into a black lady's house. She was 9 months pregnant. He drug her outside and raped her. Her son went out there and fought the white man just long enough for her to escape. When the white man went to trial, as normal in the South, the whole jury's white, he gets off. Robert had encouraged the people to let the justice system do what it needed to do. When this happened, they came to Robert like, look, you told us to do that. Now look, he got off. They got the green light to rape our women. Robert went on national TV. At this time, he was in charge of the local NAACP chapter. He said, from now on, we will not wait on the European to give us justice, right? He said, from now on, if you touch one of our children, rape one of our women, we'll deal with you ourselves. We're not going to wait because we're getting no justice here. I'm talking about real unadulterated black manhood. I wonder if somebody raped your wife, would you turn the other cheek? Sadiq?
No. Never.
You don't think so? So you're not down with Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Robert F. Williams said, we're going to deal with it ourselves. The bourgeoisie and the NAACP got so mad they suspended him. Right? This how bad these Uncle Toms were. So, Robert F. Williams went and started what he called the Black Guard. From that point on in Monroe, North Carolina, the heart of the Ku Klux Klan, anytime the Klan came to ride on black people, they got shot back at. And wow, what do you know? Suddenly, when the black folks got organized and shot back, the Klan stopped coming. They changed the laws and said no more Klan rallies in the black areas. Do you see? No more black women getting raped. No more Klan rallies making our women dance, shooting at their feet. Everything changed, right? Now check this out. I gotta bring Instagram back because my hour running out. 1 second, Instagram. I'm bringing you right back. Here we go. I'm bringing you right back. That Instagram come back in. We talking about a real man now. Robert F. Williams, Negroes with Guns. I'm not advocating violence, aggression, anything of that nature. I'm advocating lawful, Second Amendment, self-defense. Everybody ought to have this book. I'm letting the Instagrammers come back in now, so I'm going to just show y'all the book till they get in. Journey in there running, man, they crazy. All right. Robert F., a real man. Whenever the Klan would come, they would fight them back. He never lost a soldier. He never lost any of his blacks. The Klan realized, don't go there, right? They stopped going in to take advantage of their women. That ceased, right? And Robert F. began to advocate this nationally. We got to stand up for ourselves. We got to protect ourselves. We got to defend ourselves. And the person who they put up, listen to me now, I'm talking about all facts. Just get the book. He wrote it himself. You can see the brother in here. He bad man now. Let me see, can I find that picture with him and his wife? Oh, they both gangster, man. I ain't never seen a more gangster black couple than these. Or here go him and some of his homies in the Black Guard. The Black Guard. Go Google Robert F. Williams and the Black Guard. You'll see it. These dudes want nothing to be messed up with now. They didn't say we're going to go hurt white people. Matter of fact, when the Freedom Riders came to the South and the racists were attacking them and beating them, they went out and protected the Freedom Riders. Right? They went out and protected the Freedom Riders. But who was his harshest critic? Who was the man that was propped up by the European to get black people don't follow Robert F. Williams? Who went against Robert? Martin Luther King Jr. Now let me ask you a question. How you gonna be a black hero? Right? Let me ask you this, Adi. If it's a black man saying, we want peace, we don't want any issues, but you can't continue to rape our black women. And since the law won't protect our black women, then we'll have to do it ourselves. This is what Robert F. said, right? Now, how can you have another black hero saying, don't listen to him, he's crazy, he's going to get y'all killed, we can't protect our women, we got to get him out of the NAACP. No, how can that be? Just for that? He didn't say he was going to go burn down any bridges or do any lynchings. How can you get mad at a man for that? If somebody come to me and say, Vern, let me tell you something, a black man with a black woman, it says, Vern, I love my wife. I don't want anything to happen to her, and I'll kill anybody who tries to rape her or cause her serious harm. You think I'm going to say, this brother crazy, he's stupid, don't follow him? I'm going to say, that's a good man. You're a good man. Good. Our women need to be protected in this damn society. But when Robert F. Williams stood up, and you know he was being supported by some of the brothers up in New York, right? Up in the north. When he stood up and he took this stance and people started listening. Now this is the book that Huey Newton read that encouraged him to start the Black Panther Party. When Robert F. stood up and took this stance, who came out to condemn him? Bayard Rustin and Martin Luther King Jr. How can he be a hero? Well, I guess he didn't know that you were supposed to protect your wife. But you see, Martin Luther King started out with so many guns you couldn't count them. Right? When Martin Luther King first got into activism and the houses was getting bombed, Martin Luther King registered for a gun permit. He had guns and armed men everywhere until he met his mentor. A gender-confused, effeminized, emasculated black widow named Bayard Rustin. And Bayard Rustin told him that you have to be absent because Bayard Rustin was sent by the enemy. Bayard Rustin said you have to be absolutely nonviolent. You can't be around here protecting your home with guns and claiming nonviolence. And Martin Luther King got rid of all his damn guns. Now these are all actual facts. Martin Luther King started off as a proud gun owner with armed men everywhere. Until he got this weirdo to come down here and say, no, you're supposed to be nonviolent. Shut your ass up. Now, I know Bayard was sent by the enemy because Bayard, his one undying love in life was to have sex with young European males. Now, you go Google Bayard Rustin. He was caught in the car having sex with a couple of European males. He was known to be so driven by the European male. In fact, I was going to put this in there later, but I might as well give it to you now. Bayard Rustin was the black figurehead behind the March on Washington, along with Martin, but really all controlled by Europeans. Bayard Rustin was so hungry for young European boys that he found one European male 37 years younger than him. He loved the European male, so I'm not going to use that. He was infatuated with the European male to the extent that he went and adopted him. Because back then you couldn't do civil unions or gay marriage. The only thing you could do to legally tie yourself up with this boy was to adopt him. So he adopted this guy. This was his lover until the day he died. Now, Martin used to joke that things are going well in the movement, everything's on track, long as we can keep Bayard away from the white boys. Now, if I find out that the person who's advising me is spending all his free time fornicating with young European males, his ass is gone. Would you agree, Steve?
Yes, sir.
Well, if you found out that after BPM I was going downtown to chase young European males, would you come back? No, that'll be it. Now, what's up with this? You go Google, I'll give you the name of his European lover that he adopted. His name was Nagel. His name was Nagel. He adopted him. This is Martin Luther King's mentor. Right? Oh, we getting deep now. Let's roll on. But again, get this book, Robert F. Williams, Standing Up for Blacks. Protect yourself. Protect your community. Before the Black Panthers put out a 10-point program, he put out a 10-point program. Addressing our economics, addressing our communities, telling us what we need to do, and standing behind it, training men to do it. And then when he got to doing it, when he got to leading people that way, Martin Luther King came at his throat. No, we have to bow down. We cannot defend our women. Shit. You can't defend your women. All right. Martin Luther King. Here we go again. Martin Luther King came with this ideology. Let me check the comments right quick. They're talking about that old whoever that was on here. Mike Watson, I don't know. When God arrives. Oh, he's talking about God. He said that girl was eating you up, bruh. She was an educated woman. Yeah, that's why she stated that integration was the worst thing that ever happened to black males. Oh, then she came back with a question on less property in the United States. But how do you feel about... Okay, if you had more questions, you should have stayed on and got to them. All right. Oh, Shalene said she owned that book, Good Woman. All right. Hey, he said he was fetishizing after white women. Well, I know he wanted to marry one. Okay, now, Dr. Martin came with this ideology. This is why he clashed with Robert F. Now, you black people, let me ask you a question. Martin Luther King said, and I quote, after all the atrocities that were occurring in, I believe it was Alabama. Now, you ask me, I'm going to ask you if you agree with this, Sadiq. He said, more blood may need to flow in the streets before we get our freedom. But just make sure it's our blood. Just make sure it's our blood and not the blood of our white brothers. Meaning, there may be more conflicts. There's going to be more... Gandhi hated black people, so I don't know how he followed Gandhi. They got made a comment about Gandhi. There's going to be more conflict. There's going to be more violence. But don't you defend yourself and don't you protect yourself. You just make sure if it's blood, it's your blood. You hear me? Don't let any of our white brothers get hurt. So if he's beating your ass in the head with a bat, don't you swing back. These are our white brothers. And we're going to love the evil out of them. Right? This is the direct quote. Tavares Bourne said he was interested to hear what I was going to say. Everybody just thought I was in over my head when I made this allegation. But do you agree with this? If it's going to be more blood in the streets, make sure it's our blood. So if they hit you one time, just turn around so they can hit you again. Well, I'm about to take my ass in the house. This ain't my kind of party. Right? How in the hell, listen to me, Stokely Carmichael killed this whole method. Because Martin was saying we'll appeal to their conscience and we'll answer their hate with love and we'll answer their violence with nonviolence, and this will display to them how bad they are. And Stokely Carmichael said, look, Moral persuasion only matters to people who have a conscience. Do you see? Moral persuasion only matters to people who have a conscience. And if you can blow up 4 girls on a damn church step, you don't have a conscience. So me sitting here trying to get you to figure out how much I love you and how bad this is not going to work. That's not Christian ideology, because turn the other cheek was talking about your own, within your own brothers, your own people. Christians went to war. Okay? Christians went to war. Did David turn the other cheek against Goliath? Did Jesus turn the other cheek when he went in there and tore up the temple? No. Don't put that on us. I'm a Christian, and I will beat some ass. All right? Nat Turner was a Christian. That was this man following Gundy's dumbass who hated black people. 9. So, okay, all right. So he said, make sure it's your blood. But these people don't have a conscience. So do you think if Trayvon would have turned around and said, Mr. Zimmerman, I love you. Make sure it's my blood. Would that would have saved his life? No. He's teaching suicide. And then he said, and I quote, he said that you can love. God, this hurt me to say it. He said that you can love your enemies into being your friends. Okay, Tavares Barnes. I see you. See, he said he don't agree with that. Well, let me ask you a question, Tavares. If you can love your enemies into being your friends, right? I think Tavares is on the Chiefs or the Redskins or somebody now. Up there, okay. Gotta get them two mixed up because they both did genocide and made a symbol out of it. But Tavares, at defensive end, if you go out and tell the offensive tackle, bro, I love you. You know, I love you. Is that gonna stop him from trying to pancake your ass? And that's just a game, right? If Philando Castile had told them cops, I love you guys, put your hands down. Ah, what the hell? You can't persuade nobody with love that don't got no love. This is what he told our people, and we still dealing with today. Every time you got Jesse Jackson, you got Al Sharpton, now you got Black Lives Matter. Every time something go wrong, they come out and say, but we got to be peaceful. Us got to be peaceful. It got to be a peaceful protest. We just gonna sing. We gonna sing. White people like to hear you sing, nigga. How about that? Nah, let's move this on. I think, that's right. That offensive tackle got a family. All right, nah. Another thing that Martin Luther King said was that the black man can work and try to make progress for himself, but he said that ultimately our freedom was dependent upon good white people. Now, if you don't believe he said that, then I'll send you the link to that. He believed that we was ultimately at the mercy of whites of goodwill. But how you gonna be a leader and tell them that? If I'm the head coach of Tampa Bay, right? And I go out there and tell my team, look, you can play hard, but ultimately it's gonna be up to the Falcons whether we win or not. What kind of leader is that? That's your enemy. So you counting on being able to change them. I ain't got time for this shit, man. Okay. All right, let's move on. Oh, I'm going to Dr. Claude now. I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go to the real man. I'm getting ready to go. This is the main mistake. One of the things that King did that was so detrimental. Oh, they put it in the schools to brainwash us. You're right. You're right. King was nothing but a pawn. Listen to him. Now I'm glad you asked that, Tabar, because I'm going to lead you to Dr. Claude Anderson, the person who wrote Powernomics, the person who wrote Black Labor, White Wealth, the real man when it comes to black economic independence and empowerment. We finna go to what he said. Now, he was there during the 60s. The Nation of Islam looked at what he said about black economic empowerment. They did it with the seafood. This is stuff Dr. Claude said. I'm going to take his words for it. This is a credible source. Sister might not want to hear it. But here we go. Martin Luther King, right? Like I said, if you're going to be a black leader, you're supposed to be fighting specifically for blacks, right? If I play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I can't be out here trying to support the Seattle Seahawks, can I? Okay, if I'm leading candidate for the Republican Party, I shouldn't be over here donating to the Democrats, should I? Or to the Green Party, right? Should I? You're supposed to be loyal to your constituency. Okay? All right. If I'm representing a guy in court, whether I think he did it or not, I'm on his team. If I get out there making points to help the prosecution, my ass gonna get ineffective assistance of counsel and fired. All right, okay. Martin Luther King took the, you gotta understand this, and Dr. Clark gonna explain it better than me, but I'm gonna try to summarize it. Black people have a unique history in America. We suffered the most. We were lynched, we were burned. We were Jim Crow. We were mass incarcerated. War on drugs. They had us on the plantations. We created the wealth. We did the work. They raped our women in front of us and raped the husband in front of the wife. We took the psychological trauma. We never got no reparations. Yeah, Koreans got them. Jews got them. Native Americans got them. We ain't never got none of the reparations. So we have a unique history and a unique struggle and a unique claim in this country. We are the descendants of the people who you enslaved to build this place. They were prisoners of war. You took advantage of us. You owe us to compensate for what you did. That's unique to us. The Latinos can't say it, not like us. The gays can't say it. The fat white women can't say it. Nobody can say it. But what Martin Luther King did is said, everybody can get under this banner. I'm not pushing for black rights. I'm not pushing for black liberation. I'm not pushing for black economic empowerment. I'm pushing for all people. The poor whites, the Chicanos, the gays, the women. All people can come underneath our suffering. Hell no. They're not getting pulled over and shot like we are. Do you see them pulling over poor whites and shoot them like us? I mean, they shoot a poor white every now and then. But for the white person to get shot, he got to grab the police gun, run the police over, cuss the police, then he finally gets shot. Black brother can be in a wheelchair. Black brother can be standing in front of the store and they choke him to death on film. No, don't come including everybody in our stuff, because then it gets diluted. How in the hell I got time to talk about anybody else when I'm fighting for black people and we don't have anything? Sadiq, what are you going to be fighting for?
Black people.
Okay. What about the Europeans? What about the poor whites? They got it pretty rough.
I know.
The trailer parks? You be fighting for them?
No.
Okay. All right. White gay males be on some other shit. I know people like her shit. All right, here we go. I'm going to take this to Dr. Claude now, because I think I done said what I can say. Dr. Claude. Now, I want y'all to get, this is his latest book that he just put out, A Black History Reader, Dr. Claude Anderson. Boss. You talking about a boss. This man ought to go up and slap Boyce Watkins in his face for trying to be the leader in black economics. Now, let me quote Dr. Claude. I ain't going to even read everything in here. It might take too long. I'm just going to read 2 paragraphs. Here go Dr. Claude. Thomas E. Woods Jr. in his book, 33 Questions About American History, pointed out and discussed how Dr. King proposed that the nation institute a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged, not a Bill of Rights for black Americans. You see the problem here? When King got a chance to go up and make his suggestion, when we had been over there getting busted in the head with baseball bats and getting bit by German shepherds, big old powerful ass dogs, he went up there and said, we want a Bill of Rights for the disadvantaged. And didn't even say the word black. It's right here in the book. Page 17. Yeah, go get it. Go get the book. Read it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. This just my opinion. But it's a fact what he said. He didn't say a black Bill of Rights. He said the disadvantage. Well, that could be handicapped. That could be white women whose husband won't let them go vote. That could be anybody. Who the hell told you to go fight for them? That's not what we hired you for, buddy. Okay. Let's move on. The term disadvantaged became synonymous with minority and equated government-instituted slavery to contemporary issues such as poverty, gender, and immigration. Instead of framing the focus of his work on long-suffering black Americans, Dr. King's euphemism of disadvantaged opened the door to a myriad of ambiguous groups that made the case that they too had suffered institutional mistreatment, deprivation, and exploitation. Dr. King's actions started black America down a slippery slope of competition with fabricated minority issues in 1960 when he said, "We're going to take this movement and reach out to the poor people in all directions of this country, and to the southeast after the Native Americans, and to the west after the Chicanos, and to Appalachia after the poor whites, and into the ghettos after the Negroes and Puerto Ricans." So he put you last along with the Puerto Ricans. And we're going to bring them together and enlarge this campaign into something bigger than just a civil rights movement for Negroes. It's not about blacks no more. Now you see these people doing the same thing. They don't even talk about blacks no more. It's minority issues, women's rights issues, Hispanics' rights issues. You rarely even get them to say the word black. Well, we have a problem with minority police relations. No, we don't. We have a problem with black and police relations. Okay? They didn't kill Sandra Bland because she was a woman. That was a white woman talking that noise, she'd have been just fine. But Martin Luther King sent us to hell. This is the burning house he was talking about. He admitted it. Okay, now I'm finna put him down now. When Dr. King folded poverty, class, gender, ethnicity, and language groupings into the black civil rights movement, he effectively destroyed the movement for blacks. He effectively destroyed the movement for blacks. It took away the issues of their exceptionality in society, issues which had never been fully addressed nor remedied. The unique historical experience of black Americans became synonymous with minorities, multiculturalism, diversity, people of color, and poor people. These off-course issues confused racial issues with class issues. Dr. King's redirection of the nation's attention to poor people and other oppressed people of the world put black Americans on the backseat of the bus and voluntarily reversed the course of black self-interest to the days when they were denied to even have group self-interest. All right? This is what Martin Luther King did by himself. The most effective man at doing it. We're not talking about blacks anymore. We're going to talk about minorities, the disadvantaged, the destitute, the oppressed. All these groups deserve help. Well, all of these groups wasn't on the plantation, was they? Were they? You know, all of these groups ain't getting shot to death saying hands up, don't shoot. Were they? Well, why in the hell I send you out there as a black leader and you get up there and you want to talk about the disadvantaged? Well, you take what you get. You take what you get. All right, let's move on. Now, I want y'all to understand that before Dr. King, blacks were black focused. Here we go. The increased focus on blackness resulted in the rise of black leaders who in 1928 petitioned the federal government to codify black self-interest by passing a Negro Bill of Rights. I know we don't like that word, but that's what they had for blacks. In 28 now, before King, we was talking about Black Bill of Rights. Their intent was to recognize and focus public attention to relieving the historical legacies that kept blacks fixed at the lowest rung of society's social hierarchy. Now that's right here on page 16. You don't have to go far to get this. In 1928, the black leaders were black specific. They were saying we want a black Bill of Rights. Now see, Obama wouldn't say nothing like this, but he got it from Martin Luther. They said Negro. We want, no, don't talk about them. They can talk about them. We're here to talk about us, right? If I go to my child's school and they want to tell me about all the other students in the class, no, I came here to check on my child. Tell me about her. How's she doing? What can we do for her? Okay, after she's okay, then we can take care of all the other children. No, why the hell you want to talk about them to me? I'm here on her behalf. You better talk to their parents. But nah, here come Martin Luther King. Let's join hands and go to the mountaintop. Okay, all right. I'm going to give you one last quote on Martin Luther King. Take this to the bank and you cash it. And all of these quotes are early on in the book because this book got a lot of different subjects, so it jumps around. So I went in and picked out the part specific to Dr. Martin. Dr. Martin, okay? Let's go with this one. Integration, check this out now. Goes to the heart of the subject. This is from an expert. See, when you go to court, you can bring in an expert witness. This is the ultimate expert on this topic. Can't nobody touch him. Not when it comes to economics. All right? Integration did not produce racial or economic equality for blacks because it was a sentiment. It was just an intangible ideal or philosophy. I had somebody call Martin Luther King a philosophy leader. I said, what the hell is that? Aristotle? They stole their philosophy from the, but we ain't going to get into that. It was not a doctrinal commitment by white society. The dream of Dr. King and liberals of a colorblind society took the nation's focus off blacks and gave the illusion of integration and equality. Now listen what it did now. If you're still here, Tavares, I want you to take this to the head coach of your team. Don't do it. You're fired. It destroyed the black unity. This is what Martin and his integration did. It destroyed the black unity that was forced on them by segregation. See, we didn't have no choice but to open our businesses, buy black. See, all the stuff they say now, open your own business, buy black. We didn't have no choice but to do it then. And we did it well. Till We Shall Overcome came along. Was forced on them by segregation. By the 1960s, convinced to believe in social integration. Listen to this now. Convinced to believe in integration, blacks gave up their communities. Now we don't got none. And by the 1960s, convinced to believe in social integration, blacks gave up their communities, their businesses, the jobs those businesses created, their sports teams. Yeah, we had our own sports teams and sports leagues. Their schools, their professionals, and their culture. I might rest my case right there. I might rest my case right there, but I'm not. Okay. Now that was testimony from an expert witness. Got all kind of degrees. Wrote multiple books on black history and black economics. I think he's a credible source. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you one last hint about this integration, right? And I want you to take this to the bank and you cash this too. Because Brown versus the Board of Education, everybody thought this was about integrating public schools. That's not what this was about. Blacks didn't want to go to school with Europeans. Blacks wanted to have the same economic support for their own schools as the Europeans had. And the NAACP and the crafty Europeans that were fighting this decided that instead of forming these well-funded, good facility black schools, we'll just give them the illusion of integration and we won't have to pay up. Can I cite some facts? Turn to page 101 of Dr. Claude Anderson's new book. This is the last quote from the book because I'm going to go on. I know a lot of y'all ain't used to these types of things, but I'm got to give you the information. If you don't want to read it, I don't want you to take my word for it. I want you to go get it. All right? Here we go. How can we build a nation now? Ask that question at the end. But I got to get rid of this. I got to get rid of this weak ideology first. That's the first step. We got to get rid of dependence first. So that's what we're doing right now. We're dismantling that. DeBroussard _era. That's the first step. Stop being dependent. Let's get rid of this dependent ideology. Then we'll move on. All right. In 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Brown versus the Board of Education was actually the culmination of several court battles fought by blacks, including significantly a case that began in 1953, Briggs versus Elliott. Go fact check me now. In Clarendon, South Carolina. The public policy on education in effect in South Carolina and across the South at the time was separate but equal. Now, separate but equal was a beautiful thing. Well, that was me. Let me stick to the quote here. Because white schools were getting 4 to 5 times more funding than black schools, black parents filed suit. Not because they quarreled with the fact that the schools were racially separated, but because funding was unequal. Funding. You telling me that I can go stick 5 black kids in a classroom full of 20 white kids and a white teacher? That doesn't help. Keep my black child over at the black school, but make sure the funding, the facilities, the computers, we still got this problem now because of this shit. Make sure the funding is equal. The NAACP joined in the suit. White school, listen to this now. White school officials attempting to head off the court's decision offered massive increases in state appropriations to equalize fundings of black schools in a racially separate public school system. The whites said, look, wait, we don't want our kids going to school with y'all. We don't want to be around y'all. If we got to equal out the funding to keep y'all away, we'll do it. That's right here on the paper. I'm not making this up. The whites came in and said, we'll pay. Don't put Sadiq in the school with Allison, because Allison might start liking Sadiq, and next thing you know, we got a little Colin Kaepernick running around here. They hated that idea. They hated the idea of miscegenation, right? So the white leader said, we'll pay up. But here go the old liberals and the old integrationists. The organization was astonished that the state was willing to commit such enormous sums of money to Negro schools. But the unexpected offer created a major difference between the black parents in Clarendon, South Carolina, what they wanted for their children and what the NAACP wanted. The NAACP, the bourgeoisie, the Martin Luther Kings, they rejected the state's offer and the initial attempt for the black parents. They said, we don't want our own equally funded schools. We'd rather send our kids to school with you to be picked on and spit on and cussed out and denigrated. Do you see how bad integration is? Do you see how bad the integrationist ideology is? We turned down the money. Sadiq, I don't want the money. I want to come to your school. But I'll give you money. Stay at your school. Stay black. Have black teachers. Have black history. We'll pay up. It's not right. No. We're coming to your school. We want to be spit on, kicked on, cursed out, and beaten as we claim to so-called learn, and we want to learn a Eurocentric curriculum. Backwards ass shit, now. I'm going to wrap this up, man. I got so much evidence against this brother. I got so much evidence against him. It'll take all night. But let's go to the farce on Washington. Let's go to the farce on Washington. All right? Let's go to the farce. Because Malcolm X started calling that whole March on Washington a farce. And that farce was the big landmark moment in civil rights history. 200, 300,000 black people. Well, they was going to be black, but turned out to be a mixed crowd. Let me tell you about the farce. Let me tell you about the farce on Washington. Why Malcolm was so mad. At that time in history, because they have been talking about marching on Washington, having a big march for years, Rustin and A. Phillip, all the idiots. But at that time, the proletariat, the working class, the young people, the disenchanted, the truly angry, they started saying, we finna have a march. But when we get there, it's not just gonna be a march. We clogging up streets. We shutting down airports. We shutting down Congress. We going up in there to make some shit get heard. Right? We going. No leaders, right? This ain't no leaders. This just angry blacks across America. We going to the Capitol. Now, this is how it all played out now. I want you to go research this. I posted some research terms earlier. I hope y'all go research it. When Kennedy got a load of this, and the heat that was getting ready to come raining down on D.C., he called in the so-called Big Six. the integrationist, gender-confused leaders that were supposed to be in charge of these big, bougie black organizations, SNCC, NAACP, Urban League, all these different little Martin Luther King, A. Philip Grant, you know the same old clowns. And he said to them, we don't want this rally to occur. We want it to stop. They told him, we don't really have the power to stop this. We're not in charge of it. These are just angry, fed up blacks, and they don't have leaders. They're not following no one particular leader. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Well, Kennedy said, well, if you're not in charge of it, we'll put you in charge of it. But here's a few stipulations. We'll put you in charge. We'll make sure you have the money. We'll make sure you have the media. We'll make sure you have their attention. We'll make sure you have the influence. But this has better be a peaceful. There better not be one real act of civil disobedience. We don't want any disturbances. This march better be conducted on our terms and our terms only. This is our march. That's what Kennedy told them. So, when Kennedy told them that, he was going to put them in charge of the farce on Washington, he went and got a rich white entrepreneur by the name of Stephen Currier. Not Steph Curry. Don't get him confused. Stephen Currier. Go Google him now. They arranged a meeting at the Carlisle, I believe it's the Carlisle Hotel. I got the notes here. I just got so many of them on this, man. The Carlisle Hotel in New York City, right? They bought the Big Six in. They said, look, all of these civil rights organizations are arguing over money. This doesn't look good. We got to get y'all solidified. We got to get y'all cemented at the heads of this march so we can control it. So this is what we're going to do. This is what he told them now. We've raised over $800,000. That was a lot of money back then. We'll give y'all this money. Y'all split it amongst yourselves, but stick to what the president said. And you're going to also make me, a white man, the co-president of this new group that's going to be in charge of the march, the Council for United Civil Rights Leadership. They formed a new group with the Big Six, but they had to put Stephen Currier as one of the leaders of the group, and then they went and brought in 4 other white people that made it the Big Ten. So this march was organized. This march was funded. This march was orchestrated by the government and by rich white corporations. So they say, we'll give you we'll give you the $800,000 now. We'll give you some more afterwards, long as this goes according to plan. Right? Malcolm called him out for it. Nobody could deny it. Just go Google. He said it in 2 speeches. One of them was Message to the Grassroots. Malcolm called him out on it. They couldn't deny it. And Adam Clayton Powell. He called him out on it. The white European, the government, planned this rally, had the black people going there talking about you're going to get change. No, we planned this. Sadiq, if the government planned the rally and paid for the rally, you really think they was worried about the rally? They ain't going to worry about it. They planned it. It's ours. That's like me getting to go to court for trial, but I get to plan what the prosecution going to do. I get to plan what the judge going to say, and I get to pick who exactly going to be on the jury. It's over. I ain't barely got the prep for that trial. Right? The farce on Washington. Okay, that's your boy. Now, let's see what else. I'm only going to pick out my last most salient points. I already went through the homosexuals that he was surrounded with. Well, I'll close out with this, since I said it at the beginning. And this will lead into what the brother said earlier about what we ought to be doing. Back when Malcolm was telling us to join hands, integrate, give up our communities, give up what we own, you had an organization called the Nation of Islam. It was led by a black champion called Elijah. And their whole motto was do for self. And under Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam not only changed the mindsets of the blacks that got involved, one of the most famous examples being Malcolm X, they changed the economic mind and the economic position of blacks, right? Elijah and the nation built the Nation of Islam and the corporations under its control into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. They had such control over the fishing industry when it came to blacks, the shipping of the fish, the restaurants and the stores where the fish were sold. They got down to business, employing blacks, owning business. The fact that James Baldwin James Baldwin was a gender confused individual, employing blacks, and then not only employing their people, but giving them the mindset to go out and be entrepreneurs themselves, right? Gain ownership and control of land, gain ownership and control of entire industries, and let's build from there. After we do that, we can leave if we want, but you can't leave, bro, right? So it's not like Martin didn't have an example, like he was just doing the best he can. He didn't know no better. You had a man that was right here doing it after Garvey had already laid this whole blueprint, right? So not only did the Nation of Islam have an ideological impact and a spiritual and a moral impact, they did real building, bricks and concrete, economic. Now, today is the Nation of Islam what it once was. That's a whole nother discussion for another night. But I can say this. They still have their own schools. They still have their own farmland. They still have their own restaurants. They still have their own newspaper company. They still can employ their people. They still can control their food. They still, this is what, now I just wish Martin could have got on this, right? Get us some land. The Native Americans were smart enough to do it. How can I say this? The European Jews were smart enough to do it. They said, no, we want land. We want our own land. We want billions in military support. Don't give me integration. You just whipped my ass for 500 years. You just raped my wife. But as long as you let me live next door to you, I forgive you. What? Come on, man. Who would lead us into something like this? As long as we can go to school with y'all, as long as my little son Dante can go to school with Sarah, it's a, what the hell? No, I wouldn't want to go nowhere near her. Ask Emmett Till. Oh, okay, that was back in the day. Ask Kendrick Johnson, who they did organ harvesting on after they beat him to death for messing with the white girl. All right? So no, this was not a hero. Is not a hero. Nah. I was told by a very respected scholar to give Martin credit for the fact that he attempted to change. So I'm going to give him credit for that. At least he tried to change. It was too late. We were already in the burning house. They killed him when he did. But I give him credit. Later on, he started talking economics, investing in black banks, doing for ourselves, much later on. So I give him credit for that. But your whole life, you wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? That's like when you have that deadbeat dad and he be gone 19 years, but when he on his deathbed, he give you a call and say, I'm sorry. Okay, I forgive you. But you sure wasn't a good dad. All right? I can't go back in history saying, put a picture of this nigga up on the wall. Not on my wall. Not on my wall. Right? Okay. So, I didn't go through every one of my points because it would have took a while, but I went through some of the most important. Dogmatic integrationists ignored all of history in our contact with the European, told us to join hands with somebody who's been destroying our civilizations for thousands of years, admitted that he was wrong, so nobody can argue with that. Told us to get our heads bust open and never fight back, which we're still dealing with today. We're still getting our heads bust open, shot and killed. Can't we all just get along, shut the hell up? And I didn't even really talk about the fact that he was ready to marry this European cafeteria worker at seminary school. I believe her name was, what was her name? I got that in the notes as well. When Martin went to seminary, he was dead bent on marrying this European. I believe her name was Betty. Go Google it. Don't take my word for it. He wanted to marry a European named Betty. And the people had to talk him out of it. His friends and say, your dad would never accept this. So had he gotten his way, there wouldn't be no Coretta. It was a German immigrant working in the cafeteria when he was in seminary. He had decided he dated her for a long time. He said, I'm going to marry her. I don't care. I'll risk it all. They had to bring in friends and family to have an intervention. They had to have an intervention, and they say he never got over that. Well, how in the hell didn't you? I went to the University of Iowa. I partied with white people all the time. Seen plenty of white women. But at the same time, you need to know who the hell you are. Malcolm wasn't nobody without a mom and a dad. He had a strong mom and dad. But he got up there, he was going to abandon all that. Not Malcolm Martin. Malcolm had his own issues. But, yeah, that's about it. So, if anybody got any questions, I'll answer them for a few minutes. Or I'll let Sadiq answer them because he said he's the #1 scholar in the South. So, yeah, if you have any questions. No, Vern, you got to talk about his love for the white woman. Oh, yeah, I got that. I got that. Now, they say he continued to be... Now, I don't have no proof for this. But they say he continued to carry on with European women even after he was married. I can't verify that. Now, I have citations that say he was an adulterer, but I don't know who with. So I can't say that. I can't say that. All right? They killed them all for betraying him after he sold out. Oh, I don't know who they killed. So somebody said they want to hear Sadiq. So Sadiq, after all this information that you done heard, after sitting through this long discussion, move on in so the people can see you. Move on in. Move on in. They can't see you. Make sure they can see you on Facebook. Come on, man. All right. So give them your summary or your give them your opinion of everything you heard and how you feel about all this.
Well, I'm gonna start off talking about Martin Luther King. How everybody think Martin Luther King was a great leader because he's in our books at school. He's on our walls at school, like showing like leaders and stuff. But they only show they show fake stuff about him, but they don't go deep into what he really was. And now some people look up to him and think he was a leader and then try to act like him. But now Mr. Vernon just gave him these facts and said he wasn't no leader. He wasn't no hero. He was a hero to some people because a lot of people like the way how he carried himself, but if I was them, I wouldn't like the way he carried himself. And when he tried to, one thing I ain't like about him was when he tried to date the European, and you just went way off. you can't be no hero doing that.
He didn't try to date her. He dated her. He tried to marry her. Yeah. But his friends held him back like, no, don't do it.
Like Jerry Springer.
All right, so that being said, do you think he is a hero?
No.
So who would be your, because I see somebody on here keep asking about my top heroes, but this is your segment.
Oh, well, my top heroes?
Mm-hmm, top. You can go with your top 3.
Top 3. Top heroes. I say first.
Don't pick off the wall. You don't have to pick out your heart.
Oh, it could be like 2018.
Any black hero throughout all of history. Any blacks that you feel met those criteria and fought for black people.
Let me see. I was finna say Zulu, but I think that's too old.
No, you can go all the way back to ancient Africa. I would.
Well, I say Shaka Zulu because I like how he made his own to defeat the people.
He definitely did build up the Zulu Nation and get them organizing. I love Shaka Zulu too, so I can give you that. That's very credible. You go as far back as you want. Go ahead.
Oh, it could be
It could, bro.
Malcolm X.
Okay, why Malcolm?
Like when he came, he transformed himself.
No, he didn't transform himself.
Cause somebody don't know.
God, Elijah, the nation. He had a long list of influences. But once he got the knowledge, he did re-educate himself.
Yeah, I like that. And then that fact that when he went to jail, it's hard to learn in jail back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see how you got hold of a dictionary.
Well, you had books. You had books back then. You had access to some things back then. Okay, so you got Shaka Zulu, Malcolm X, and who else? You could go all the way back to ancient Africa.
Let me see. All the way back.
And you can pick America too. You ain't got to go back to Africa.
Well, I say my last hero would be probably Mr. Vernon.
Don't say that. Pick somebody else.
Let me see. Well, Robert F. Williams.
There you go. Now that's a champion.
Yo, I gotta pick him because he for the family.
Black woman, black man, black children. You're right about that. So Sadiq chose Shaka Zulu, Malcolm X, and Robert F. Williams.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hand on that. All right. I would have to choose. I can't lie. I would have to choose Empress Nzinga, undefeated 40-year warrior against white supremacy. I'm talking about blood and guts and psychological warfare. I'm going to go with Empress Nzinga, number 1. Number 2, I got to go with Nat Turner. Led by the Spirit of God, in rags and poverty and slavery, with the guts to rise up in those conditions. And number 3, I have to go with Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Oh, that was a real champion right there. Strategic, yet vicious. If I had to go 5, I'd throw in Garvey, Dr. Khaled. Elijah, I can go on and on and on and on. Let me stop. But those would be my top ones, okay? So let's see. San Jose State University named the library after him. State-of-the-art, $174 million library. Yeah. That's good for them. Another way you can tell he sold us out. All right. Well, if we don't have any more, let me see. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to close this out.
I think your phone frozen.
Yeah, it looked like my phone freezing on the Facebookers. So, yeah, that was the message for the day. So, no, I don't believe he was a hero. I'm not going to call him a hero. He's not on my wall. On my wall, I have Shaka Zulu, Fred Hampton, Empress Nzinga, Marcus Garvey, Dr. Khaled Muhammad, BPM, me and my wife, and big old Orion Reddy. No room for Martin. No room for Martin. All right? So God bless. Y'all have a good one. The next show, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be off the chain. And as I always say, BPM today.
BPM tomorrow. BPM for life.
Baby. And we are. I don't even know what to do with that phone.
It might be dead.